morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and I will be joined here momentarily by my co-host that's here every Sunday with me, Mr. Cam G. But until he gets here, we're going to talk a little bit about, number one, how fast this football season is going. I'm sitting back thinking the other day, like, man, the past couple years, probably since the pandemic, you see how fast the years are just going. I don't know if I'm wrong on this or not, but the years just seem to be going fast. They're flying by like crazy. You get back to 2021 and we start opening things up after one of the worst times in the modern era. But how fast the football season went in 2021. You get to 2022, and the football season just flew by. We'll fast forward all the way up to 2025. And how fast this football season is going. College football just finished off their final week of the regular season. The NFL is wrapping up week 13 tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. And it feels just like yesterday that this season kicked off. It feels just like yesterday that we were getting excited as football fans to welcome in the 2025 season. And now we're talking about playoff race. We're talking about the college football playoffs, what teams are going bowling, Selection Sundays next week. And in the NFL, we're talking about teams already being eliminated from playoff contention like the Giants. The Titans, I believe today, if they lose, they're out. But not only that, just how weird this football season is. The teams that you did not expect to be in the positions they're in. The Colts, the Broncos. Teams you didn't expect, the Chiefs, the Bills. At the moment, Philadelphia. The positions these teams are in at the moment. It's crazy. The Jets as well, yes. Cam, how you doing this morning? How you doing on this football Sunday?
I'm doing good, man. Just ready to talk some football.
You know, I just sat back and thought about this last night as I was finishing up prep work. And it seems to be a normal thing to think about nowadays on how fast things are going.
Yeah.
You know, what's up, Raven? How you doing? Thank you for joining us this morning on the Huddle Up Podcast. Appreciate you being here. It's just crazy how fast these seasons are going. You know, coming out of the pandemic and how fast the years have been. I mean, we're about to hit 2026. Today's the last day of November.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, on Tuesday is when we get our final rankings for the college football season. That's it. Next Sunday is Selection Sunday. Next Saturday is Conference Championship weekend. And then the following weekend is the Army-Navy weekend. And they moved the Army-Navy game from Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia to M&T Stadium in Baltimore. The Army-Navy game is tradition at the Link, and they moved it to Baltimore. But sitting back and prepping for the show, finishing up prep work last night for the show, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I can't believe that this is the second to last top 25 that I've taken notes on. Next week is the last for Tuesday show. Tuesday is going to be the last for the Tuesday show. And I look at the schedule that I write down for the NFL, and we're a quarter of the way through week 13. And today didn't even kick off yet. Why? Because we had 4 games happen already. 3 on Thanksgiving and 1 on Black Friday. And we're at the time of the year where games are going to get flexed from the positions that they're naturally supposed to be in. So be prepared that if you have tickets for an NFL game, pay attention because that game may get flexed. If it's a 1 o'clock game, because of the possibilities of a playoff, scenario or whatever, may get moved to 4 o'clock. And if your team is in a division race come week 18, your team and your game may get moved to Sunday night because the past couple years, they've been moving games that determine divisions to the Sunday night game. Last game of the week. Last game of the year. Because it means something. We're at that time of the year where football games, NFL games are going to be on Saturday now. So I just can't believe how fast it's gone. It's crazy to think about. And Cam, you got hit with some snow last night out there, right?
Yeah, it's basically gone now.
Yeah, we're getting it right now. We have the first snowfall in eastern Pennsylvania happening right now. And they're saying that it's supposed to be plowable snow that we're getting today. It doesn't look that way, but that's yet to be determined because it did just start. But Cam, let's get into it, man. I'm ready to get into it. Before we do get into it, though, I want to remind everybody that we are all over social media, over on X, TikTok, and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. On the YouTube, you got to hit that subscribe button to follow. TikTok, I'd actually hit the follow button. And on the Twitch channel at the Huddle Hub Podcast, hit the follow. All the links to the social medias are in our Twitch channel in the bio. And you can click on whatever desired social media you want to go to. Hopefully, it's all of them. And go follow us on the Huddle Hub Podcast on social media and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the 2025 season and beyond. So, Cam, let's get into it. What's up, Virgo? How you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us here on the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. Let's get into it. College football week 14 recap, Cam. And I'm going to say this. One game that I really, really was looking forward to this week was the game at the Big House between Michigan and Ohio State. The rich history of this football game. The last time that Ohio State defeated Michigan in this series was back on November 30th, 2019. Over 2,100 days ago, but Ohio State was able to overcome Michigan yesterday and beat them 27-9, thus Ohio State completing the undefeated season. Now, we went into yesterday with 3 teams in the top 25 that were undefeated: Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Indiana was able to complete their undefeated season by defeating Purdue 56-3, but Texas A&M fell a little short on Friday night when they lost to Texas 27-17 in an upset. So now Texas is kind of flirting with the top 10. There's a lot of talk about Texas getting back up into that top 10 and could get a vote to get into the college football playoff. So, I mean, Cam, your thoughts on Texas going out and upsetting Texas A&M? Indiana, the hometown team for you, dude. They're finishing off the undefeated season. If you have anything on Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, I'm surprised at just the blowout, I would say, from Ohio State. I expected this game to be a little more competitive, to say the least. But easily this was the highlight, I think, of college football weekend this week. And like I said, as you said, the rich history. Last year with the whole massive brawl with the flag planting thing or whatever. So this is probably one of the best, if not the best, college football rivalries. I mean, these two teams genuinely just hate each other. You can feel that every time they play each other. So, and like I said, Ohio State, kudos to them, finally getting that monkey off their back and finally ending this losing streak since 2019, I believe, of not being able to beat Michigan. So, again, just another notch in their history and playing each other. So, they definitely got their hands full next week as well. I'm looking forward to next week as well, them playing IU. So we'll definitely have to see what happens in that game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge Big Ten title game. Huge Big Ten title game. Like, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm a Penn State fan. But I'll say this right now. Indiana, the way they're playing right now, the way that they're going out and performing, they can have a shot to go out and beat Ohio State. They could. I mean, I even said it on the Tuesday show that I think Michigan could possibly go out and beat Ohio State, and they fell short. Just fell short. I mean, there's always that time where something comes to an end. Michigan, The past couple years, they've had their ups and downs. The 1 year Ohio State was, I believe, either undefeated or had one loss, and Michigan was 6-5 going into the game, and they ended up going out and beating Ohio State. That's why when me and John talked about Michigan and Ohio State the other day, I said I wouldn't discount Michigan in this ballgame. It seems like even if Michigan were to go, 1-10 going into this ball game, this is the ball game that really matters to them in a sense, because it's that rivalry. So Michigan will go out and defend their house against Ohio State. I mean, there are so many big rivalries in college football, and Ohio State and Michigan are one of the big ones, next to Penn State and Ohio State, Penn State and Michigan. A lot of big rivalries in the Big Ten. And then you go over to the SEC. I mean, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Some big rivalries. Speaking of Tennessee and Vanderbilt went out and defeated Tennessee 45-24 for Vanderbilt to finish their season 10-2. So now there's a lot of talk about the possibility of Vanderbilt getting a college football playoff vote, because the voting is going to start. And there's a possibility that they can work their way in there. A lot of weird things are going to start happening now with how teams get voted in. Miami, with their win yesterday, they may have earned some votes to get in. And depending on how things go with Miami winning, I mean, we can end up seeing them in the ACC title game next week. We'll find everything out on Tuesday at 7 p.m. when everything updates. And we'll have everything for you guys right here on the Huddle Up Podcast. We're going to be live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after everything updates. We changed the time from 7 to 7:30 because of the Top 25 update. We want to be as accurate as we can be for you guys with the updated Top 25 with how they're doing it now. Because earlier in the season, they would update the Top 25 on Sunday afternoon, and we'd be good to go. But these last couple weeks, they've been updating it at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. So we want to try and be as accurate as we can for you guys. That way, we'll be on point. Georgia Tech and Georgia. Georgia had a battle with Georgia Tech. Georgia went out and defeated Georgia Tech 16-9. Now, Georgia Tech, they started off strong this year. There was even talks about them going for the ACC title, and then they, towards the back end of this year, kind of fell, and now they're 9-3. Georgia Tech, gonna get knocked out of the top 25. They may even possibly fall to number 25. We don't know. But Georgia Tech, I think their consideration for a playoff is done, and I think we're just going to see them in a bowl game, on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, or maybe even New Year's Eve or earlier than that. They're going to be in a bowl game. They've earned it, but their ACC title opportunity is pretty much out the window. They blew that yesterday against Georgia. So, last upset of the weekend, California went out and defeated SMU. SMU was in the top 25. They were ranked number 21. So California went out and upset SMU. SMU had a chance to tie the ball game at the end of the game with a last-second field goal, and it went wide right. Kicker missed it. It was like a 46-yard field goal, and guy missed it. Felt so bad for SMU because they've been battling all year.
They have.
And that was rough for SMU. Was real rough. You just seen the disappointment on those players' faces when he missed that kick. That was rough. So, but Cam, I don't know if you have any games that you want to talk about real quick from college football. If so, the floor is yours. If not, we'll move on.
Not really. Like I said, a pretty quiet day, I would say, for college football weekend. So like I said, the one game that I was really focused on was just the Ohio State-Michigan game, which I thought was pretty good. Other than that, I don't really have any other games to speak on.
There is one score that I did not get. It was a late night game. The Notre Dame Stanford game at 1 a.m. was at halftime. I looked at the score of the Stanford Notre Dame game, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They were at halftime. I was like, man, this game is going long, because they started at like 11 o'clock at night. And I was like, 2 hours and it was halftime still? Like, what is going on? Notre Dame ended up beating Stanford 49-20, which was expected. So we do have some news on Stanford that we're going to talk about in the news segment, which is next. If I can get my my cards right here. All right, so we're going to get into the news that is coming out of the world of football as I change segments here. Jackson Dart, quarterback of the Giants, he is out of concussion protocol, and he is going to play on Monday night against the Patriots. This news came out on Friday that he has been cleared of concussion protocol, and he will play Monday night against the Patriots on Monday Night Football. I'll say this, Cam. I think Jameis Winston even in losing effort, did a pretty darn good job the past 2 weeks for the Giants. I mean, you're used to seeing Jameis Winston go out there and have a one touchdown and 4 interception game. That wasn't the case. You know, they went out there and almost beat the Lions last week, you know, and Jameis Winston, he kind of kept things afloat for the Giants, even in a losing effort. And now Jackson Dart's going to be coming back. But the question is it really worth for the Giants to bring Jackson Dart back at this point? You're out of the playoff race. You're eliminated. You're done. Why bring him back coming out of concussion protocol and taking that chance of him getting injured? You know, I understand you want to see what else the kid got, but he's your starter moving forward. He's your guy. They basically made a Falcons move, what the Falcons did last year, benching Russ, bringing Jackson Dart in. They already made their decision that this is the guy moving forward. Unless the Giants have other plans in 2026 with a new head coach coming in, Mike Kafka has pretty much made the decision that Jackson Dart is the guy moving forward, and it seems like the front office and Joe Shane, the general manager, has made that decision as well. Why put him in this position? So do you think it's smart for them to put Jackson Dart in knowing that they're really not playing for anything?
I don't think so. I mean, you look at the situation. It's a similar situation. I'm drawing a blank right now with another team, where it's with the Commanders. That's what I'm thinking of, and Jaden Daniels. And you look at that situation, and this is kind of almost a mirror image of what's happening over here. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't start. I would not bring Jackson Dart back for the remainder of the season. I mean, you have a star in Jackson Dart, and I talked about this before about him and Scadaboo are your two guys that literally could be cultural changing, a cultural shift out there in New York. And, unfortunately, like I said, one of them's hurt and the other one has dealt with some injuries. Luckily, they haven't been anything serious enough to where he has to, undergo surgery. But you run that risk. I mean, what's the next injury going to be? You don't know. That's football. These injuries are just unpredictable. They're expected, but they're unpredictable because you just don't know when they're going to happen and what game they're going to happen and how that's going to affect the rest of the season. So I would start Jameis Winston today. I don't feel like that's the right move to just bring Scadaboo back or I'm sorry, bring Jackson Dart back. And like I said, potentially get him hurt again. Like again, you're just stunting your growth for next season. Like I said, I would just have him on the bench and have Jameis get his reps in there. He didn't do too bad. Last week against the Lions, very surprising effort, almost won that game. I mean, they literally gave the Lions a run for their money. They definitely did not make it easy on them. So you have a potential. You're facing one of the best, if not the best team in the AFC right now in the Patriots. So I would give it everything they really have. So they need a repeat effort today against the Patriots, and if they plan on beating them. So I just don't think it's worth it. You're not fighting for anything anymore. You're really just going out there trying to salvage whatever's left of the season. So
yeah, I mean, if the Giants were smart, put in the guys that can use the reps, because you got a lot of guys that are backups or a lot of guys who are on contract years who may not necessarily be starters. Number one, the Giants right now, they're in, I believe, third as far as draft picks. The Titans are number 1. The Jets are 2. The Giants are 3 when it comes to the draft. You're in a very good position for the draft to go out and get another key player that can come in and instantly help your team. So what you do is you just pretty much make your ticket prices affordable for people to come and experience an NFL game, like other stadiums do. The Panthers last year, when they were as bad as they were, tickets were $25 to go to a Panthers game. The Titans, $25 to go to a Titans game. Make it affordable for people, even if they're playing playoff teams. Even if they're playing playoff teams like, the Eagles, the Eagles, the Patriots, teams that are in the playoffs. Who cares if they're playoff teams? Let people come in and experience it. Make it affordable. Make it affordable. You know how many tickets you would sell if you do that? You would fill your stadium for a team who is 2-10. It's simple marketing. So why not? And they'll have an opportunity to see Jameis Winston, a former Heisman Trophy winner. Hello. So I mean, I'm with it. I'm with Jackson Dart sitting out the rest of the year. Get him and keep him healthy. And do what the Bears did. When they brought in Caleb Williams, when they drafted Caleb Williams, they hired a baseball coach from, I believe it was the White Sox or the Cubs, to come in and train him how to slide. Jackson Dart doesn't do that. He goes into hits, and that's why he ends up in concussion protocols. Like, dude, learn how to slide. You don't need to be hitting people. Get out of bounds. Go to the ground. You're not going to gain any more yardage by ramming into a guy that's, 2 times bigger than you, or that can hit you harder.
That's not your role anyways.
It's not.
Leave that to the running back.
Exactly. J.J. McCarthy, quarterback of the Vikings, he is in concussion protocol. He's going to be out this weekend. The rookie Max Brosmer is going to be getting his first start. So the Vikings starting a rookie quarterback this week. That's rough. J.J. McCarthy has had a rough start to his career. I mean, being out all last year, he's out most of this year. It's been rough for him. So if I was the Vikings, I would really probably start thinking about doing what they did last year and picking up somebody, a veteran like Sam Darnold, like they did last year, and really evaluate whether you want to start J.J. McCarthy next year. Keep him. I'm not saying get rid of him. He could be your guy moving forward, but get him healthy, because I don't think he came off last year's injury fully ready. You got to get him ready. You can't just expect it. So Baker Mayfield, he may possibly start this week. He left Sunday Night Football's game last week with a sprained shoulder in the loss against the Rams. A lot of evaluation with Baker Mayfield this week. A lot of second, third, fourth opinions on whether he should play this week or not. It's a game time decision. They're going to decide come game time, come kickoff, whether Baker Mayfield is ultimately going to play or not. So I would say this: if you're a fantasy player and you have Baker Mayfield, I would probably think about starting another quarterback just in case. So, and I drafted Baker Mayfield this year. I traded him away for Jalen Hurts. So kind of glad I made that move, because I'm still in the playoff race as of right now. So Drake London, wide receiver of the Falcons, he's going to be out with his knee injury. Suffered a knee injury in last week's game. He's going to be out today. Alvin Kamara, running back from the Saints, he's also going to be out with a knee injury he suffered last week. So a couple guys out with knee injuries. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Steelers, he has a fractured wrist, but he's going to start this week against Buffalo. Big game against Buffalo this week. Possible playoff implications on the line in this one, when it either comes to seeding, placement, everything like that is still up for grabs, because the Steelers right now, as it speaks, they're tied with the Ravens for lead of the AFC North. And the Bills, they're a little behind the Patriots right now for the AFC East. But even with the fact that the Steelers, if they're not in the lead for the division and they get into that playoff positioning, for the 5, 6, or 7 seed, and it comes between them and the Bills, this win is very important for that placement. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be starting today for the Steelers against the Bills. The Bills, though, they're going to be dealing with some injuries. Dalton Kincaid, tight end. He's questionable for today, but left tackle Deion Dawkins and right tackle Spencer Brown for that Bills offensive line are both out. This is a huge hit for the Bills. You go back to their game against the Texans, and that offensive line, even though the Bills put up some pretty decent points against the Texans, still looked not so good and could not protect Josh Allen. So, Cam, your thoughts? I mean, with pretty much a quarter of the offensive line out, do you think the Steelers' defense could possibly go out and have a field day against this Bills offense?
I mean, it's possible. I don't really know how to feel anymore about this Steelers team. I mean, it's been so up and down all season. One week it's the defense doesn't look great at all, and the next week the defense looks fantastic. One week the offense doesn't look good, and then the next week the offense looks great. I don't know. It's some severe inconsistencies this year, and they're not even like minor inconsistencies. They're just major holes in their game on both sides of the ball. And each week it's like I never know what I'm going to get from this team. That's a problem. And I feel like that's something that I shouldn't have to be talking about this late in the season. So I mean, yeah, can they go and beat up Bills team? Sure, but I don't know if I'm going to feel good about that. Yeah, I'll be happy they got the win, I guess, but I don't feel good about that because I want to beat a healthy Bills team. I want to go into this game with confidence going, Bills ain't beating us. There's just no way. But I don't get that feeling because they've been so inconsistent all year. So I really don't know what to expect in this game.
Well, as of right now, when you look at the playoff race, if the playoffs were to start today, the Patriots would be the 1 seed, Broncos 2, Colts 3. The Steelers would be the 4 seed because they are technically in first of the AFC North. The Chargers would be 5, Jaguars would be 6, the Bills would be the 7 seed. And on the outside looking in is the Texans in 8, Chiefs in 9, Ravens in 10th, Dolphins are in 11th, Bengals are still alive in 12th, even at 4 and 8. The Browns are in 13th at 3 and 8. The Raiders are 14 at 2 and 9, and the Jets are 2 and 9 and 15. And the Titans, even at 1 and 10, are still alive. Titans lose today, they're done. They're the team that could get eliminated today. The Jets, if they lose today, could get eliminated, and if the Raiders lose today, can be eliminated. So 3 teams are on the bubble for elimination this week in the AFC. So that playoff race is very much slimming down on the AFC side of things. The NFC, a lot of hot things going on over in the NFC side of things right now. So Shedeur Sanders, quarterback of the Browns, he is going to start against the 49ers this week. He earned it. The Browns front office said that they were very impressed with Shedeur Sanders' performance last week against the Raiders, and they were still impressed even though the Browns lost 2 weeks ago when he came in for Dylan Gabriel. They were even impressed with his performance. His decision-making was kind of 50-50, but they liked the fact that he had some awareness and that he had some, urgency. He wanted to take chances. And this is the thing that the Browns offense has had problems with all year with Dylan Gabriel. He didn't like to take chances. He played safe ball. Shedeur goes out there, he takes chances. And they like that. And in chances, you can earn wins. They did that last week. Yeah, some might say, it was just the Raiders defense. I get that. But it was an NFL defense. I mean, they wouldn't be here if they weren't good enough to be there. It's an NFL team. Whether it's the Raiders, the Jets, the Titans, the Saints, it's an NFL team. So Shedeur impressed them enough to get the start for today against the Niners and possibly for the rest of the season. So it's the Shedeur Sanders show now. Frank Ragnow, the center that retired for the Lions during the offseason, he wanted to make a comeback, but he failed his physical. So Frank Ragnow has to stay on the retirement list for the Lions. He wanted to come back and try and help with the offensive line, and he failed his physical. So this is the first time I heard of a player coming off of reserve retirement and failing their physical to come back. They didn't specify what he failed. That is personal HIPAA regulation stuff. They cannot release that. But yeah, it's crazy to hear that. Player wanted to come back and they fail their physical. Never heard that. I'm sure it's happened, but they never made it public, and the Lions did. Last bit of news, Tavita Pritchard, quarterback coach of the Commanders, he is going to be the new head coach out at Stanford University in 2026. So a quarterback coach has earned a head coaching position for a college football team. That's crazy. A position coach didn't work his way up to assistant, offensive coordinator, or even head coach. in the NFL, and he's becoming a college head football coach. And that's a fast track to becoming an NFL coach. You go out and be successful in college for a couple of years, the NFL teams are going to start calling.
Yeah.
And the work that Tavita Pritchard has done the past 2-3 years, Jaden Daniels coming in, they had the success they had last year. There's a little bit of a hiccup. Jaden Daniels is back at practice, but he is not going to be starting this week for Washington. They expect him to be back by next week. But I think it's a little too late for Washington. I think it's a little too late. But, but that's not for the news. That's everything from the news, Cam. That's it. We're 30 minutes in today. Like I said, this might be a little bit of a shorter show this week because we had the Tuesday show. We had games on Thursday and Friday, got a little bit of a early start on week 13 in the NFL with the Tuesday show and covering some of the games. But we will talk about those games. We're going to take about a 30-second break. We'll be right back here on the Huddle Podcast. All right, so make sure you're heading over to all the Huddle Hub Podcast social medias after the show, hitting that follow button over on the X, the TikTok, and the YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. Over on the YouTube, hitting that subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube, and follow us over on the Twitch channel at the Huddle Hub Podcast. All the links are in our bio over on the Twitch channel. You can follow the desired social media you'd like to follow us on. Hopefully it's all of them, but help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the 2025 season and beyond. I forgot to hit the loop button to keep the thing on loop, and it literally ended after like 15 seconds. So I'm like, shit. And I come back, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, I got up. I had to open my window because it got super hot in this room. Like out of nowhere, it just got super hot, man. That's the thing is with wintertime, you turn the heat on in the house and it gets nice and toasty. But then sometimes it gets way too toasty. And you got to open a window because it gets too hot. Can't deal with it. And it feels like summertime, but drier, just all dry and everything. But yeah, I'm just complaining. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. NFL Week 13 has kicked off on Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. Kicked it off with the Packers and the Lions. The Packers end up getting a win over the Lions, 31-24. Cam, the Lions right now, you look at it, they struggled against the Giants last week, and then they go out on Thanksgiving Day, and they plummet down against the Packers. The Lions, when you look at them and you look at them as a team right now, or you go back to the last 2 years and the way they've played, home field advantage last year, first game in the playoffs, got dropped by the Commanders. Year before making it to the NFC title game, the expectations of making it to the Super Bowl, and got dropped by the 49ers in the second half of that game after taking full control in the first half. The way the Lions are playing right now, Cam, they are almost on pace that if they continue playing the way they're playing, could end up being 10-7, 11-6 at best this year. You go from a home field advantage team to possibly being a 5, 6, or 7 seed, depending on how things fall, and losing these division games are crucial. The Bears right now, who went out on Friday and defeated the Eagles, we'll talk about that in a second, and became a 9-3 team, leading the NFC North right now. The Packers creeping up right behind them. And the Lions were in that mix as well. The Lions right now are in third place in the NFC North. Do you think the expectations of the Lions making a Super Bowl are growing thinner by the day?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that window is closing more and more for them. They're just not the same team. They're not the same team as the previous 2 years. I said that at the beginning of the year. I felt like something was just different about this team. And like I said, you have, I would say the biggest, most glaring problem, you have Dan Campbell calling plays, taking over, for the, offensive coordinator. So and it's just not working. The offense is just not the same. They're not clicking the same. Their defense, their secondary, more importantly, is just awful. It's just there's just holes all over the field, and the Packers are just going to pick you apart. I mean, Jordan Love had 4 touchdowns, so it was impossible for them to come back after that. Impossible for them to try to dig themselves out of that hole that they created. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely closing for them. I definitely don't see them being the big conversation or the favorite, I guess you could say. Heading into another Super Bowl. I don't see it. Honestly, I don't. They could right now. I'm looking at this team and I'm thinking that they could be first round exits again. That's what I'm looking at right now because it's not the same. It's not. It doesn't feel like the same Detroit Lions team that we have seen in the last 2 years.
I mean, when you look at it at the playoff race right now, the Lions are on the outside looking in at 7-5. They're the 8th seed. They're the 8th seed. The 49ers have the 7 spot. The Packers are in the 6th spot. Seahawks are in the 5 spot. The Buccaneers, who lead the NFC South, are in the 4. The Eagles in the East at 3. The Bears in the North at 2. And the Rams are the number 1 seed in the NFC side of things. So, I mean, this is all going to change as the weeks go by. The Giants are officially eliminated. The Saints at 2-9 are still in. The Commanders, Cardinals, Vikings, Falcons, Panthers, Cowboys are all still alive in the playoff races. But again, as the weeks go on, this is all going to change. And the Lions sitting at 7-5 right now. I mean, it's slim, man. I mean, they can finish 10-7. And I said it before the season kicked off. I said, I feel like the Lions could be a 10-7 team. Maybe just making the playoffs as a 7 seed. I did not feel like this Lions team was going to be a dominant team. They were dominant last year. The year before had a stranglehold on the NFC North. I didn't feel that this year with them. And they went out and made moves that made the team stronger. So I think things are going to slip through their fingers and they could possibly miss the playoffs, even at 10-7 with the way things are going on the NFC side of things right now. So the Cowboys went out and got their 2nd win in a row over the Chiefs, beating them 31-28. We've seen the Cowboys last week. They were down 21-0 at the half, came back, beat the Eagles 24-21 in that big comeback. The Cowboys last week tied for their biggest comeback in franchise history against the Eagles, and now they go out and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, again, another team. I said it, I feel like they're going to miss the playoffs this year. Did not feel like they were the same team after Super Bowl 59. The Cowboys, they're starting to pick things up. They're 2 games behind the Eagles right now in the NFC East. Your thoughts on the Chiefs and the Cowboys?
The Chiefs are a confusing team right now too, as well, because I mean they go out there and they beat the Colts, something that I didn't expect to see happen, and then they lose to the Cowboys. So that's very strange to me. But yeah, I mean you said it, but the proof is in the way that they're playing. Really, they don't seem like the same Chiefs. They aren't the same Chiefs. This is not the Chiefs team of the past. The dynasty seems like it is crumbling. I'm not going to say it's over necessarily, but it seems like it's crumbling, and it realistically, we could be looking at the Chiefs missing the playoffs, which again is realistic at 6-6 right now. So I could see it now. I mean, I'm really starting to envision them missing the playoffs. And then with the Cowboys, as much as I hate to admit it, their defense is just great right now. It's amazing. And like I said, they're the reason that this team is still in it. And they're the reason that they're going out and winning these games. Impressive defense. I can't say any more about their defense, and especially their offense. George Pickens is going out there and he's doing his thing. I think he's becoming the favorite target, even over CeeDee Lamb. Because CeeDee Lamb is still having issues dropping passes and making plays and things like that, where Pickens is excelling in. So he's becoming the CD and then some for that team. So and I know there's there's the talk out there, amongst Cowboy and Steelers fans or whatever. There's George Pickens now has more yardage than he did in Pittsburgh, or he has more catches and more plays than the Steelers wide receiver room right now. It's like, don't do that. That's just that's just petty in my opinion. But good for George Pickens. Like I said, he belongs in this team because he's with someone like a CD, who I don't think he had in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So he has that relatability. He has that. I don't even think they're too different, too far apart in age. So again, he needed that. He needed something like that in the wide receiver room, which again, like I said, I don't think he was getting in Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, they wanted him to be kind of like their Antonio Brown of this generation. They wanted him to be wide receiver one, and I just don't think he was ready for that. But now he's got somebody like CD to lean on, to be mentored by. So
I think George Pickens could have been ready for it in Pittsburgh. I think it was the quarterback situation that really held him back from doing that. And you look at Pittsburgh's quarterback situation, even when Ben Roethlisberger called it quits. I mean, the decision making of who's going to be the quarterback the past couple years after Ben left, it's like you bring Russ in, you brought Justin Fields in, you know, you have Mason Rudolph come in. Now it's Aaron Rodgers. You know, you drafted Will Howard. The quarterback situation really, at the moment, it's stable with Rodgers. Even with Russ being there last year, you had Justin Fields. It wasn't really stable. Yeah, Russ came in after week 6, week 7, and took over when Justin Fields kept things afloat, but it wasn't stable. Ever since Ben left, the stability of the quarterback position in Pittsburgh really hasn't fully been there. And I think George Pickens would have had a better time in Pittsburgh if there was some stability at the quarterback position. Yes, he is getting more targets in Dallas. Yes, he's getting more catches, yardage, and stuff like that in Dallas. The yardage thing is petty. I agree with you on that. When somebody pulls out the statistics of a player from one place to another, it is petty because you've got to think of the differences that were in the environment. And that was the fact of the quarterback position in Pittsburgh was not as stable as it is in Dallas because they have Dak Prescott. Last year, the stability for Dallas wasn't there because Dak got hurt, and they were trying to decide, you know, hey, we're just going to run with, you know, I believe Cooper Rush was the guy that they ran with. But before, you know, when Dak first went down, they didn't know who their quarterback was going to be, and then they made, no pun intended, they made a rush to say, hey, we're going to bring in Cooper Rush, and he's going to be the guy. So there we go. But there's stability at the quarterback position. And that is key for wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, you know, your players that go out and make the key plays, the impact. So, you know, pulling out the whole yardage comparison thing, it's petty because of that fact. You got to think of those other scenarios of stability position, and the quarterback position is a very important position in football for stability. You want to have a guy that can go out and lead. You know, that's why, again, going back to the Giants, even in a loss, looked good. Why? Because Jameis Winston is one of those guys that he wants to go out and lead his team to a victory. He has that mentality, but it's all about what the other guys around him were doing to help him get there. So, last game on Thanksgiving was the Bengals and the Ravens. We had the return of Joe Burrow, and he didn't waste no time in his comeback, coming out and beating the Ravens 32-14. Joe Burrow looked pretty good in that game Thursday night, and the Ravens didn't. Your thoughts on the Joe Burrow return? The Bengals are 4-8, and when you look at the rest of this AFC North camp, you look at it. You got the Ravens at 6-6. The Bengals are 2 games back from the Ravens. Okay, the Browns are 3 games back from the Ravens, and the Steelers, who sit at 6-5. Ravens are right behind the Steelers, tied at wins with 6. Steelers win today, they'll be 7-5. The Bengals will be 3 games back. The Browns will be 4 games back. I mean, it's only week 13, Cam. This AFC North is kind of wide open right now. So maybe it's not too late that Joe Burrow is coming back for Cincinnati. Could there be a possibility that if Cincinnati goes out and plays the way they did on Thursday night, that we could see Cincinnati sneak in there? You think? Maybe?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, if there's ever a quarterback I guess I'm rooting for to make something out of this season, it's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just likable. I can't help it. And like I said, he's a great player. He's a great quarterback. He's just had a really rough go in Cincinnati. He's just been getting beaten up. for the last couple of seasons, it seems like. So yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible. I mean, their next game is against the Bills. It's the same team that the Steelers play today. So it's possible they go out there and beat the Bills. Again, that's not the same Bills team. They're not. They are very, I don't know. They're very on and off, 1 minute, off the next. So that I don't even think that they might not even have problems with the Bills, honestly. So it's very possible they could still sneak into playoffs. But yeah, their game against the Ravens, honestly, the Ravens came out there, they looked pretty good at first. And then, like I said, the Bengals defense really just started to kick into gear. And then Joe Burrow really just took care of the rest. What he said, I believe, before the game had started, he's like, hey, we get paid a lot to play a kid's game. That's going to be something that I feel like gets replayed on socials everywhere for a while, because it was so real, because it was just like, hey, I'm not going to dwell on what could have been this season. It's too late for that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do the best, give the fans a show, and go home. And at least I can say I did what I could.
Yeah.
That's the realest thing I've ever heard a player say, to be honest with you. So, kudos to the Bengals, man. And like I said, I'm rooting for Joe Burrow and see if they can get in the playoffs.
I mean, you look at them last year and it was a little too late for them. They went out and finished strong in the final week of the season and going, because last year, the last week of the season, the whole AFC North played on Saturday. You had, I believe it was, the Bengals and Browns, Steelers, Ravens. And the Bengals, I think needed the Ravens to go out and lose to the Steelers, in order to make a playoff because of scenarios. And that didn't happen. That's because, when the Steelers were on that 6-game losing streak and everything kind of fell apart at the end of the year, Joe Burrow sitting on his couch. And when that game ended, he was like, what am I going to do? I can only sit here and wait for, things to happen, things to occur. And I can't control what other teams do. I can't control what other guys go out on the field and do. I can only do my best. We went out and did what we needed to do. The other team didn't go out and do what we needed them to do. And that's that. We fell short. We just got to come out and do better. The interactions that you see Joe Burrow have with people, even referees. I seen a video of him having an interaction with a referee, and they were talking about his sword collection. He has a samurai sword collection. Yes. And just stand there talking about it. And where he got a lot of his samurai sword collection was through his girlfriend's uncle. Very famous person. I forget who it was. He mentioned it, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, that's crazy. Anyways, just the personability that Joe Burrow has. You kind of look at him in a different way once you start seeing those type of things, the things that he says, like, oh, this is a kid's game. We get paid a lot to come play a kid's game. That's it. And makes you feel a little more comfortable knowing that you have a guy that has that mindset, because he's going out there and having fun.
Yeah.
Go out and have fun. You go and win ball games.
Yeah.
That's what they did on Thursday night. Simple as that. Black Friday game, Bears, Eagles. The Bears, I'll say this, Cam had full control of this ball game from the word go. First half was theirs. The Eagles tried to mount a comeback late in the game. You've seen A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts make some connections, 2 touchdowns in the game, but just was not enough. And the game ended. The Bears were on a 4th and inches, and the Eagles jumped off sides, thus ending the ball game for the Eagles and mounting the comeback. They lose their 2nd straight game in a row, 24-15. This Bears team is rolling right now, looking great. Caleb Williams looking good. 2 running backs had 100 yards. Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift both had 100 yards rushing against this Eagles defense. The Eagles are now 8-4, 2 games up in the NFC East. Cam, realistically, I think the Eagles are going to win the East. I think this is just a hiccup for them. I think come next week, things might start picking up for them. I think they understand what they need to do now to get back on track, hopefully. But the Bears, they just seem in control of everything. They seem like they have that confidence. Do you think the Bears could have the confidence to go into the playoffs, though, and make a deep run?
See, I think that's where the inexperience comes into play. Head coach has never been there, as far as I know. I know Caleb Williams has never been there so far as him being a Bear. That's where the inexperience comes in, and it really ought to depends on who they play. That's also a factor as well. Could they shock some people and come up with an upset? Absolutely. I think this whole season up to this point for the Bears has been an upset because I don't think anybody expected the Bears to do what they're doing right now. This is a very impressive Bears team. I think this is a dangerous Bears team in the NFC, and I don't know. I don't really know who can beat them right now. That's the the big question right now because whatever team beats them, it really has to outlast them for 2 quarters of football, plain and simple. As far as the Eagles go, I hope you're right. I really hope they get things back on track. I hope this 2-loss, streak that they're on is really just a hiccup because I still would like to stick to my guns, as I said at the beginning of the season, and say that they still, get through the rest of the season, get through the playoffs, and still make it to February come 2026 for the Super Bowl. So I don't know. I don't know what the what's going on with the Eagles right now. I have no idea. I would say they definitely have struggled this year. There's another team that I don't feel like is the same as they were last year. I mean, they were just completely dominant last year. I mean, they did struggle early on, but then with the blockbuster Saquon deal after that, I mean, it was just off to the races for them. So this year it's definitely a big cool off from last year to this year. So I don't know maybe they can get things together. We'll have to see. I don't know.
We'll definitely have to see if the Eagles can get back on track. Let's see if the Bears are going to continue running pretty much roughshod in the NFC North right now. I mean, they are in control of that division. I'm kind of with you. I think the Bears, they're starting to pick up that experience through the regular season and being able to finish ball games, win ball games the way they're doing. But it's going to be about the inexperience. Does Ben Johnson have a little bit of experience in the playoffs? He does as an offensive coordinator. As a head coach, a rookie. It's different being a coordinator because you only have to worry about one side of the ball. You don't have to worry about the defense as well. You don't have to worry about special teams. You don't need to worry about anything else but what the offense is doing and what plays you're going to call. Now you're in control of everything. You make the decision of everything. And that's where that part of the inexperience comes in. And the Bears are a fairly young team who don't have that experience. And who knows? I mean, I think it all depends on who they play in the playoffs. You can sit there and say, oh, they played this team in the regular season. They went out and beat them. That's all fine and dandy. But the playoffs are a whole different monster. And that's been proven many times. The Bills last year went out and dominated the Chiefs in the regular season. What happened in the AFC title game? Chiefs won. So it doesn't matter if you beat a team in the regular season when it comes to the playoffs, because things are different in the playoffs. Yeah. And if these two teams meet in the playoffs, which could very well happen, I think it might be a different story. I think it might. And I'm not just saying that as an Eagles fan. I'm saying I think it might because the Eagles have experience. They just raised the Lombardi last year. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. A.J. Brown is starting to kind of get into the form that he should have been in from the start. And Saquon, he's starting to pick up that average. Last week we talked about them surpassing their season average. He's starting to kind of gain that a little bit. Is it a little too late to get to where he was last year? It is. It's way too late. But it's not too late to get the motors going. And meet and kind of catch up to the expectations of what this season should turn out to be. Is there still a possibility of the Eagles repeating? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because if you look at it, I mean, the Rams, who are playing very good right now, 9-2. Eagles are 8-4. They're one game back realistically. The Bears are 9-3. Eagles are one game back. So the teams that are ahead of the Eagles right now, only one game ahead of them. Now, if the Rams go out and win this week, obviously they'll be 2 games ahead. They'll be a 10-win team. Same with the Patriots. They'll be the first 10-win team on the AFC side of things. But it's already been proven that it doesn't matter how you finish in the regular season. It's what you do. Lions last year, home field advantage. They blew that against the Commanders. So, it don't matter. So, Cam, that leads us into running down the rest of Week 13 in the NFL. We're going to start off with the 1 o'clock set of games. The New Orleans Saints, they're going to head out to Miami to take on the Dolphins. The Dolphins right now are starting to kind of pick things up at the moment. They have a huge chance of not only possibly making the playoffs, but they're only 2 games back from the Bills. 2 games back from the Bills, who are currently the 7 seed in the playoffs. What do you got on the Saints and Dolphins?
Dolphins have potentially the funniest thing that they could pull off the funniest thing I think of this season, and that's make the playoffs when nobody expected them to make the playoffs. This team I think has been one of the teams I've probably talked about the most during the course of this NFL season. You know, I'm not even a Dolphins fan, nor do I hate Dolphins, but they've just been the most entertaining thing because their entire organization right now is just a mess. It's just headline news everywhere you go. It's good content. What's going to happen with Tua? What's going to happen with Mike McDaniel? It's everywhere. Problem is, all of that I feel like has been a massive distraction for this team to be able to pick up wins on the field when it matters. But they definitely are picking things up. I think they are understanding the severity of the situation, and the clock is ticking. The end of the season is coming very, very soon, and I'm sure they want to be able to say that they at least made the playoffs. The Saints, again, they're another team that they don't have anything right now, and they don't even have a quarterback. The quarterback situation right now in New Orleans is a mess right now as well. So I'm looking at the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins should win this game and continue this winning streak that they're on right now. And we'll have to see, what really happens to them, and if they can make a run for the playoffs. So we'll have to see there.
One thing I want to look at, because the Dolphins right now sitting at 4-7. Okay. They got Saints today, which is a winnable game. Highly winnable game. Okay. They got the Jets next week. Winnable game. Then they got the Steelers. Do you think the Steelers game could be a winnable game?
With the way the defense is playing, yes.
Okay. So that puts the Dolphins at 7-7 if they win these next 3. 7-7. Then they got the Bengals. Possibly a winnable game, depending on how Joe Burrow plays the next couple weeks. That's 8-7. Then they got the Bucks. The Bucks are dealing with a lot of injuries to the point where it could be a winnable game. That's 9-7. And then they close things out with the Patriots. That's 9-8 finish. Can you imagine the Dolphins making the playoffs at 9-8?
That would be so funny.
I mean, when you look at the Texans' schedule, the Texans have a very winnable schedule to the point where they could take over the 7 seed. The Jaguars have a slightly winnable schedule to where they can take over the 7 seed. The Jaguars right now, they are currently the 6 seed. But it's just the way things can fall.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that we could be saying in January the Miami Dolphins are in the playoffs, which is nuts.
Yes.
Which is crazy to think about. So we got an AFC South matchup today. The 6-5 Houston Texans go out to Indianapolis to take on the 8-3 Colts. The Colts right now leading the AFC South. They pretty much took control at the beginning of this season, but they just suffered a loss, and the Texans are starting to pick things up a little bit. What do you got on the Texans and Colts?
Colts are kind of slumping right now a little bit. They don't seem as dominant as they had towards the middle of the season or so. But I can expect them to pick things up. They went against a tough Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense really just kind of shut them out and managed to come back in that game. The Texans right now definitely are picking things up. I don't know, but they I would say they definitely have their hands full, I think, with this Colts team right now. So this could be a shootout, honestly. This is a battle, I think, for the NFC South. So we'll definitely have to see. I'm giving the slight edge to the Colts, though. I don't see them losing 2 in a row. So we'll definitely have to see there.
I wanna check something really quick. All right. So, wow. So that's crazy. I'm looking right now at which teams could be eliminated from playoff contention this week, and the Titans, even if they go 1-11 this week, are still in playoff contention next week.
What?
That is unreal. Yeah. Some of these teams, the Saints lose today, they're still in playoff scenario contention. It's nuts. It's nuts to look at these teams, 1-win teams. And they're still in playoff contention. I just need to look at that really quick. I did. So we'll move forward here. The 4-7 Falcons head out to New York to take on the 2-9 Jets today. The Falcons don't have Michael Penix anymore this year. Kirk Cousins taking over the realm at quarterback, and the Jets are sitting Justin Fields possibly for the rest of the season. What are you looking at in the Falcons and Jets today?
This is a weird one, I would say. Again, we say it every week with these two with when we get two, losing teams, against each other. It could be the game of the week. We don't know. So it's really tricky, I guess, for both of these teams right now. I mean, they're both beat up on both sides of the ball. They're starting, their quarterbacks that are not their starters normally. So I have no idea what to expect in this game. This honestly could be the surprise of the week. I guess I'm giving the slight edge to the Falcons. They don't look too bad as of late, I guess. So I got to. Well, you know what? I take that back. I'm giving the slight edge to the Jets because of the fact that the Jets have that defense. They have that red zone defense that is just awesome. So if nothing else, they definitely have the defense, and the Falcons definitely have the work cut out for them just with that Jets defense.
I'll say this: the Falcons right now, Buccaneers lead the NFC South. They're 6-5. The Falcons are 4-7. Falcons are 2 games back. 2 games back. The Panthers right now are 6-6. They're technically tied with the Bucs, but have one more loss. That's what makes the difference because of the bye weeks. Okay. We have week 14 coming up, which is the final bye week week of the year. The Panthers will be on the bye. The Patriots, Giants, 49ers are the only 4 teams left that have a bye week coming up, and then that's it. You look at the records right now, the differential, basically the Panthers are back a half a game. The Panthers go out and win this week, and the Buccaneers lose. The Panthers hop right in first place in the NFC South. Did you think at the beginning of the season the Panthers were going to be in first place in the NFC South?
No.
The Falcons are 2 games back, basically a game and a half with their record, with how things are right now. Falcons go out and win today, and the Bucs go out and lose. The Falcons, Panthers and Bucs go out and lose. The Falcons are right there, and it's for the taking in the NFC South. People want to talk about the NFC North being a crazy battle. Look at the NFC South. Look at the NFC West between the Niners and Rams. And then you insert the NFC East. The Cowboys are only 2 games back from the Eagles. That's why I said you look at the AFC side of things right now. Things are kind of set in stone minus the last 3 spots in the playoffs. But you look at the NFC side of things and everything is wide open. It's only week 13. We have 5 weeks left after this week. And teams are 2 games back. Just imagine if the Cowboys caught the Eagles. Just imagine if the Falcons caught the Panthers and Bucs. Just imagine if the 49ers caught the Rams. What the playoffs will look like in 2-3 weeks. It'd be nuts.
Yeah.
Out of the realm of possibility, the realm of thought, that some of these teams that you didn't expect in the playoffs or in a playoff race are right there. The Cardinals at 3-8. If the Rams were to go on a slump and the 49ers were to go in a slump, the Cardinals, they're 6 games back with 6 games left, or 5 games. Yeah, 6 games back with 6 games left, 7 games left. But the 49ers, who are 8-4, they're 5 games back from the Niners. And the Niners have a bye week coming up next week. Say the Cardinals decide to go on a hot streak. It can happen. That's how weird this year has been.
Yeah.
That's how weird this year has been. And if the Jets go out and beat the Falcons today, the Jets, say the Bills go out and lose to the Steelers today. Okay? Say every team in the AFC East minus the Patriots. So the Bills, who is it? The Bills, Patriots, Dolphins. Say the Dolphins and the Bills go out and lose this week, and the Jets win. Jets are 3 games back with 6 weeks left. Just think of that. The Jets, if they were to pick things up out of nowhere and take over and take that second spot in the AFC East. Now, realistically, do you think it could happen? No, I don't think so. I think the Falcons go out and win this game today. I do. But just imagine that, the Jets. Just imagine in January we're talking about the Jets as the 7th seed in the playoffs. Like, it's crazy right now. Crazy. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's the crazy part. We got the 8-4 San Francisco 49ers heading out to Cleveland to take on the 3-8 Browns. The Browns, they made their decision to start Shedeur Sanders. Brock Purdy is back, having a little bit of a rough start for the 49ers, but keeping them afloat and only one game back from the Rams. What do you got on the 49ers and Browns today?
Well, if the Browns defense can force as many turnovers as they had, as the Niners had the last game they had, I think the Browns could possibly pull out an upset. Honestly, I don't think the 49ers get away with having that many turnovers in it not costing them. So it really all comes down to, I think, Browns defense and see what they can do against the 49ers. Shedeur Sanders, this is no longer the Raiders. That's the reality that I think he has to come to grips with. This is not the Raiders, a team that, again, has struggled all year. And what I prefer to them as, the NFL's punching bags, who hasn't beaten the Raiders now at this point. So this is no longer that. This is a serious game. This is a tough team. Realistically, I'm giving the edge to the Niners. I don't think the Niners should have any problems. They should definitely smooth out their issues and turnovers, with Brock Purdy coming back. I would think it was just, I don't know, a blemish or whatever in his game where, again, it's just been this on-off switch with him on the field, off the field with injuries, and not a consistent, week 1 through 13 of him playing. So I think he will definitely see improvement in this game. And they have worked out the kinks on that. So I'm giving the edge to the Niners. I just don't see the Browns coming out with the victory here.
I mean, that Browns defense might keep them close in this ball game because Myles Garrett right now, he leads the league in sacks. He's on pace for his 6th season in a row with 12 or more sacks, which is very impressive. Very, very impressive. And he's on pace to break the single season sack record. He is. He's on pace for it. I think the Browns defense will give the 49ers offense a run for their money today. The Niners are very slowly getting healthy. Brock Purdy's is back on the field. Christian McCaffrey has been able to stay healthy all year. George Kittle's back on the field the past 2-3 weeks. The only guy that's not there is Brandon Ayuk. And there's a lot of talk about Brandon Ayuk being out the door, basically. He's getting declined of his $26 million bonus this year. They said they backed out of it, which I don't blame him. And he's going to possibly be a trade deal come the offseason. So the wide receiver room is going to change slightly in San Francisco come this offseason. But this is the right now. And right now, that San Francisco team, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle, and you can even count Christian McCaffrey because he does go out and catch balls, are keeping them up there. So it would not surprise me if the Browns stay close in this game. But I think ultimately the 49ers will go out and get this victory today. I do. So we got the 9-2 Rams heading out to Carolina to take on the 6-6 Panthers. The Panthers, 1 week they go out and win. The next week they lose. 1 week they go out and dominate. The next week they get dominated. The Rams, they're staying pretty consistent and dominating games, sticking up there in that 1 seed for the playoffs. What do you got on the Rams and Panthers today?
I mean, I can't agree with you more on the Panthers. Just a seriously inconsistent team right now. And it's heartbreaking because they have shown so much improvement, especially Bryce Young, a guy, like I said, I've been rooting for the longest with this team, has shown so much improvement. But when they go out and they lose games or they get dominated even in some weeks, just shows they're still not ready. I don't know when they will be ready, but it just proves they're still not ready for the big time, I would say. And then, like I said, they're going against a very, very good and dangerous Rams team. Matthew Stafford playing like he wants another ring. Matthew Stafford playing like he wants to earn that MVP, which he is currently leading right now. So they got their work cut out for them in this game. They can't afford any mistakes. They pretty much have to play a picture perfect game against the Rams. And this is their proving ground. Are they really ready, as I said, for the big time? Which I don't think they are. But they could shut me up and go out and shock everybody and beat the Rams. But that's a tall task. Saying that and doing that is two different things. I got the Rams in this one. This could get ugly really fast if that Panthers defense is not on their P's and Q's. So we'll have to see.
Puka Nacua is on pace to breaking his rookie record of 1,000 yards catching. Devontae Adams, he holds the record, the new NFL record for 1 yard receptions for touchdowns. Yeah, he broke that record last week. He has the most 1 yard receptions for a wide receiver in NFL history. And I think he continues that today with another one. Another one. I had to do it. I had to. Another one. The Rams are looking good right now. I think, honestly, the Rams, you go back to last year in that playoff game against Philly, should they have realistically won that game? Probably. They probably should have. They probably should have. And I think that's been on their mind ever since. Ever since. And now they're going out and dominating. I think their main focus is, let's get a home playoff game. Let's get Philly in here, and let's right the wrong that possibly could have been a wrong last year. But we know how Philly can be in the playoffs. They can show up and come out and completely take over a ball game. And they've done that. They did that against Washington. They did it against Green Bay. So I think the Rams have a focus. It's all about trying to complete that focus, and that is Philly in the playoffs, this time in our house. And I think that's why the Rams are playing the way they are. I think they have that game on their mind. And I cannot think of anything else on why this team is going out. I mean, they're a good-looking team. You have Devontae Adams, who's arguably one of the greatest wide receivers in the modern era. Puka Nacua, who is very young and could become one of the greatest wide receivers in the modern era. And then you have Kyron Williams, who is in a little bit of a slump at running back, but can break runs at any moment. This Rams team is doing a lot of special things this year, and the Panthers need to be highly prepared today for this team. So we got the Jacksonville Jaguars heading out to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Jaguars are 7-4. Titans are 1-10. What do you see from the Jaguars and Titans today?
I don't see the Titans having a chance in this at all. Or maybe they could. Maybe I could be wrong, because the Jaguars is another team that's on and off. I don't know. But I mean, I'm thinking about it, and my gut is just telling me the Jaguars. Again, they're also beat up as well, but they're still going out and winning games. They're looking like they have playoff contention on their mind, which is why they're playing the way they are playing. Trevor Lawrence looks decent enough, playing his best football, I think, that he's played so far. Again, I said this before. I think this is one of the better, if not, I don't know if I could say the best, but probably just one of the better Jaguars teams I've seen assembled, during the course of this season. So I'm looking at the Jaguars, and I think they could easily take this game.
Cam, over the week, I went back and I looked at, because you know me, I'm a crazy person, and I keep records of things that I do, like predictions and stuff. And I went back and looked at my off-season final predictions for the season, and I predicted the Titans to go 2-15 this year. That was my prediction for the Titans. I don't see them winning no more than 2 games. And they're on pace for that. They are on pace for that. Just like I predicted the Lions to go 10-7, on pace for that. Just like I predicted the Chiefs to go 8-9. They're on pace for that. A lot of teams are on pace for my predictions. I'm kind of on point a little bit with some of my predictions, which is crazy. I didn't think I was going to be. I really didn't. I just make my predictions on when I look at the schedule and think, okay, this team could go out and beat this team, so I'll give them the win. And then in some division matchups, I said, I think these teams could split. And when I look at the Titans, I'm like, man, I think they're going to have the first overall pick again. They're going to go 2-15 because they are in complete rebuild right now. and for them to be on pace. But then I looked at the Jaguars and I was like, man, I think they could have maybe a 5-12 season, maybe 4-13, and they are completely out meeting my expectations. When you look at the Jaguars, they're going out and winning games that matter. They went out and beat the Chiefs. If them and the Chiefs come down to the last spot in the playoffs, they have the head-to-head over the Chiefs. They have the head-to-head over some of the teams that are still in the playoff race. So the Jaguars are kind of putting themselves in the position of, okay, we need to win these games in order to get to January football. Now, the games we lost may not matter so much. So it's like the Jaguars are doing the right thing when it matters, but not doing the right thing when it doesn't matter. It's almost like they know this is what we need to do here to get to where we want to be. And they're 7-4. They're in the 6th seed of the playoffs right now. So they're doing all the right things, even in the inconsistencies, doing all the right things when it counts. So I think the Jaguars are going to have a pretty good day today. And I think that Trevor Lawrence can possibly have a big day today too. So the final game of the 1:00 set, the Arizona Cardinals head out to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As I said, the Cardinals, even though where they're at right now, if things fall their way towards the back end of this year, they could possibly be looking at a playoff. I know it's crazy to say they could be possibly looking at a playoff spot at 3-8 right now. The Buccaneers 6-5, slightly leading the NFC South by half a game. What do you got on the Cardinals and Bucs?
Well, first of all, the Bucs definitely have had a pretty tough schedule. I believe they are on a two-game or 3-game losing streak right now. Just playing some really tough opponents. This not really being their toughest opponent in the Cardinals. Cardinals have really struggled, even with they still have not been technically eliminated from playoff contention. There's still a team that just really has not been able to find the winning formula consistently throughout the season this year. So I'm looking at the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers should have a win and break that losing streak that they've been on against the Cardinals here. But it's possible the Cardinals can go out and play some of their best football against the Buccaneers and win here. So this one can go either way.
I mean, they have Jacoby Brissett as their starter. I mean, Kyler Murray, it looks like he's going to be done for the year. I mean, I don't see Kyler Murray coming back.
No.
The believability of Jacoby Brissett really putting the Cardinals in position of going on a hot run and possibly getting a final spot in the playoffs. It's out of the realm of possibilities, but you never know. It could happen. It could happen. They could catch a hot streak, win their last remaining games of the season, go 9-8, and sneak in somehow. Going deep, no, it wouldn't happen. They'd be out in the first round. They wouldn't be like that miraculous Packers team 2 years ago, being the 7th seed, going out winning against the Cowboys. That wouldn't happen. It's not happening. The Buccaneers, I mean, Baker Mayfield being a game time decision today. I think it's smart for them to make him a game time decision just because of them really tiptoeing around that shoulder, making sure he's okay, good to go. Honestly, I think the Bucs go out and win this game today, but it's not going to be a dominant fashion. It's not. They got Mike Evans back, which is a good thing, and they look to make him a bigger target today. And I think that's what's going to really put them in the mindset of, do we put Baker out there? Because he's got one of his key receivers in Mike Evans. If we can get these guys cooking, there's a possibility we can run away with this division, because we got the Panthers on our backside right now. We got the Falcons, who are only 2 games back. The Saints are long gone. I mean, yeah, they're only 5 games back, four games back, but it's still the point. That's why they're still alive. It's because of the game differentials. But the Buccaneers, if Baker's healthy enough and Mike Evans is healthy enough, and they start connecting, we could see the Buccaneers start running away with this and possibly go on their own little streak, finishing, maybe 12-5, 11-6. So we'll have to see what they do against the Cardinals today, though. I think today could be the start of a hot streak for Tampa Bay. I think it could. 4:00 set of games. We got the 4-7 Minnesota Vikings heading out to Seattle to take on the 8-3 Seahawks. The Seahawks, they're trying to stay up there with the Rams and the 49ers, while the Vikings are just trying to stay alive. Max Brosmer getting his first start of his career for the Vikings today, What do you got on the Vikings and Seahawks?
The Vikings offense is definitely going to look a lot different, I would say, in this game. It's really a big question mark. I know there's a lot of frustration, especially with like their biggest target with Justin Jefferson. So it's going to be a struggle, I would think. And then the Seahawks, like I said, they've been playing great all year. Again, another surprising team that I didn't see doing as well as they are doing right now, especially with Sam Darnold. I thought he was a flash in the pan coming from the Vikings. So again, playing his former team. But we'll definitely have to see there. I'm giving the edge to the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks, they take this game. They are definitely battling, I think, to stay alive in their division right now. So I would say the Seahawks, they're just more of a complete team right now. Vikings they just continuously keep hitting the reset, especially at quarterback this season a few times. So,
during the offseason, I said that I think the Vikings should have played it smart and gave Sam Darnold the 2-year contract that the Seahawks gave him and paid him the money that the Seahawks gave him. The Vikings have the money. And I think they should have had J.J. McCarthy just sit on the sideline, hold the clipboard, and learn. Instead, it's we went out and wasted a first-round draft pick on J.J. McCarthy, so we got to start him. What has that gotten you? Take a step back. Go find yourself a good veteran who's going to be on the free agent market in 2026. Bring him in and have JJ hit the reset button. He's young. You can do it. The bad part is a lot of these teams we need to win now because our fans, the people that, obviously they keep the revenue going. You buy the merch, you buy the tickets, all that stuff, the travel, everything like that. Yes. They put the money in the pockets. But take that mindset out. If you want your team to win, then do the right thing. Sam Darnold should have been the quarterback in Minnesota this year. Instead, you ship him off. He goes to Seattle, and now look what he's doing in Seattle. Yeah, they had a hiccup. They lost a game. They lost, was it last week? They lost. So what? They're 8-3 right now. The Seahawks are looking like the Seahawks when you had Russ and the Legion of Boom. That this should be a clear sign for Minnesota to say, maybe we messed up and we need to take a step back and really think about what we're going to do in 2026 with J.J. McCarthy at our quarterback position. You got the offense. You got arguably one of the top running backs in Aaron Jones in the backfield. You got Jordan Addison, who's a hell of a player. And your defense is always a top 10 defense, which this year is not, but it's always a top 10 defense these past couple years. Take a step back. Go and look at what made you successful in the past and recreate it. You can do it. You can do it. There's possibilities. I do want to look something up really quick. NFL free agent QBs in 2026. We're going to look at what quarterbacks could be available. Could be available for them. Daniel Jones is going to be a free agent this year because Indianapolis did not sign him long term. This is a 1-year deal that he's on. Daniel Jones. Okay. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, Marcus Mariota, Zach Wilson, Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Tyrod Taylor, Trey Lance, Malik Willis, Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater, Jameis Winston, Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are the free agent quarterbacks that we know of right now for 2026. Jameis Winston, if he would go into and I'm going to say this right now, a lot of people don't have belief in Jameis Winston. I still believe Jameis Winston, if he's in the right system and kind of retrains himself a little bit with technique, could become another starter in the NFL again. He could recreate himself. I think he could. Aaron Rodgers, he's 40 years old. Guy's still tough as nails. He's playing with a broken wrist right now. I mean, go to Minnesota. The only thing that could be holding him back from doing that is the thing of hearing, oh, he followed Brett Favre's footsteps. Who cares? Who cares? Minnesota, I think, needs to take that step back and really look at what made them successful. They do. We got the 7-4 Bills heading out to Pittsburgh to take on the 6-5 Steelers. Right now, the Steelers lead the AFC North at the moment. The Bills not leading the AFC East. The Patriots are, but the Bills are also fighting for their playoff lives at the moment. What do you got on the Bills and Steelers?
This is a tough one. I wouldn't say Bills. I think I wouldn't say Bills have this game, hands down. Again, I think the Steelers have just let the AFC North slip through their fingers. They let someone like they let a team like the Ravens, who were 1-5, now sit at 6-6. They were atop of the AFC North for literally a cup of tea until they lost Thanksgiving on Thursday. So maybe they got saved there. So they should be probably thanking the Bengals for beating the Ravens. Now they sit atop back of the AFC North for now. But this is a tough one. I mean, this is a must win if they plan on staying number one and lead the AFC North. Having Rodgers back, I mean, that's okay, I suppose. I mean, Rudolph, I don't think was going to be a long-term solution. He's good in spurts, but I truly do believe that it's just an old-fashioned way of doing things with this offense. You know, I think Tomlin is just too conservative with the ball. He's too conservative with how he wants the offense to be run. And I think that's the biggest issue here. And I mean Arthur Smith and whoever else, they can only do it so much. They can only do it so much because ultimately I think it's up to him to change that style of play. Because I've seen this Steelers team come out some weeks and it's just like, what did they even do in practice? Because they don't look ready. They look tired. They get gassed really early, and they just have no fight in some of these games, and especially some of these winnable games, like them losing to the Chargers, who looked awful. Like they could have won that game, but they just didn't look prepared at all. So this is make or break once again during the course of this season. This is at least the third or fourth time I probably have said this. And I think for Art Rooney, for the rest of this organization, what else do you need to see? If they lose this game, what else do you really need to see during the course of this season that says, hey, this isn't working? We need to finally commit, instead of being afraid to commit, finally commit to a hard reset of this team. You can't run from it any longer. You haven't found a certified answer and a certified star at starting quarterback since Roethlisberger retired. That's an issue. Rodgers is good. He's not great, but he's okay. But I think he just walked into the quicksand that is this offensive line, or this offensive, just the way it's run, offensive scheme, whatever you want to refer to it as, where it's been the same for the last several years. It's just has not been good. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to expect from that team. As far as the Bills go, the Bills are not a whole lot better. They are better record wise, I would say, obviously, but they are, again, there's another team that's inconsistent. They go out and they lose games that you wouldn't expect them to lose to. They lost to the Falcons earlier in the season. That was a shock. So it's not the same Bills team. So they have a chance. The Steelers have a realistic chance to beat the Bills in this game, I do believe. But again, they've got to play some of the best football they have played all year if they plan to do that.
In the last game of the 4 o'clock set, we got the 2-9 Raiders heading out to take on the 7-4 Chargers. The Chargers had some high expectations this year, especially in their running back game. The possibilities of Amari and Hampton getting back into it the next couple weeks. He's heading back to practice. But the Raiders, they are far long gone. Are the Chargers long gone, even at 7-4? Cam, what do you got on the Raiders and Chargers?
I think the Raiders should have this. Again, the Raiders are just the punching bag right now, every single week. Again, that's another team that really needs to think about some reshuffling. Specifically at quarterback, Geno Smith had just not been the guy that they expected him to be for the Raiders. Even Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll might be in danger as well. I don't know how long his tenure is going to be for Oakland, for Las Vegas, if he doesn't shape things up and turn things around for the Las Vegas Raiders. In terms of the Chargers, again, they're just up and down. 1 week they just don't look like a great team. The next week they look decent. I don't know. So, but I would say the Chargers have this. I don't think this should be an easy win for them today, because I guess again the Raiders are just a mess right now.
All right. Whew. I sometimes have to take like these deep breaths for some reason. I don't know why. My breathing is like. All right. We got the 9-2 Broncos heading into Washington. Damn, let me start that over. My God. On Sunday Night Football, we got the 9-2 Broncos heading into Washington to take on the 3-8 Commanders. A lot of high expectations from Washington this year, pretty much letting everybody who expected them to do something this year down. The Broncos are meeting expectations and then some, leading the AFC West at 9-2. What do you got on the Broncos and Commanders on Sunday night?
Broncos are looking like stars right now. Again, another shocking, surprising team. I believe Bo Nix could do it though. I mean, we saw spurts of greatness in him last season as well. And he's just improved, and they've built on that. So kudos to that organization for just building on what they started last year and making it bigger and better this year. So I see the Broncos doing what they need to do in this game, and getting win over the Commanders. The Commanders, again, I think we both said it. We didn't expect to see them do what they did last year. That was just, that was a stroke of just magic, I think, with just the new regime that they brought in and the good job that they did last year. But I just don't think they did enough this year, and the team is just not the same as they were last year, obviously. So I would say it's going to be a struggle for them in this game.
All right. All right. Sorry, I had to write something down. On Monday Night Football, we got the 2-10 Giants heading into New England to take on the 10-2 Patriots. The Giants, their playoff hopes are gone. The Patriots are the 1 seed at the time. Oh my God, let me start over. On Monday Night Football, we got the Giants at 2-10 heading into New England to take on the Patriots, who are currently 10-2. The Giants, playoff hopes gone. The Patriots, currently the 1 seed in the playoff race in the AFC. What do you got on the Giants and Patriots?
It's crazy to say, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Giants could win this game. If the defense plays how well they played against the Lions last week, this could be a tough game for the Patriots. Honestly, it could be. With Jackson Dart coming back, I still think that's the wrong move. Build off of what you started with Jameis Winston last week. Jackson Dart, it's a big question mark, because we know how he plays. We know his style of play. We talked about this earlier. He runs through, defenses like he's a running back, and that's his problem. Like, someone please teach this man how to slide, like, because you're hurting your own team. You're keeping yourself off of the field and putting yourself back in a concussion protocol. This would be for the 3rd time this season. So yeah, no, I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope that they have a game plan for him not to run as much. Because like I said, you've got your weapons. Obviously, you lost your deep threat in Malik Neighbors earlier this season, but you still have your weapons. So and just please utilize those, and not so much the running. I would say that's the number one thing the Giants need to focus on the offensive side of the ball. Patriots, like I said, they're in firm control right now. Stranglehold over the division at 10-2, even over the Bills again, which is still just shocking to me. I just never would have seen that coming. I would say they're in the driver's seat in this game. If the Giants come out and they don't have a great game, I think they'll take advantage. And this is another game that could get very ugly on Monday night.
I'm going to say this real quick about the Patriots. It is like a Cinderella season for the Patriots because you look at the past couple of years, Tom Brady being gone, they go out and they draft Mac Jones. Mac Jones didn't meet the expectations. Then Mac Jones goes out to, fast forward to this year, San Francisco keeps them afloat while Brock Purdy gets better. The Patriots go out and draft Drake May, and the expectations were there from drafting him, but they didn't know it was going to be this short of a time period that he would come in and be successful the way he's being. The Patriots, I think, are surprising a lot of people. You look at how the AFC East is right now, and the Bills, thinking they had a stranglehold on this division for these next couple years, that quickly went away. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, who are staying afloat, trying to stay in the playoff race, and then you got the Jets. The Giants at 2-10, could they go in and surprise the Patriots on Monday night? Maybe. It could. If they play as good as they did against the Lions last week, they could. They could possibly go in and upset the Patriots, turn them into a 3-loss team. It could happen. But again, the Jackson Dart decision, I'm with you. I think it's a mistake. I think that Jameis Winston should go in and take over for the rest of the season and have Jackson Dart sit out and just learn more, especially learn how to go down before taking hits. So the Giants is a possibility. It is. It's a possibility for any team to go in and win any game at any time and shock the world. But I think the Patriots, I'm with you. I think the Patriots are going to take control of this game, and it could happen very fast. It could. That's that for Week 13. Me and John will be back on Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you a recap of Week 13 of the NFL, give you our thoughts and reactions to the week's action. Me and John's differential right now at the end of Week 12, John is 117-63. I'm 115-65. I'm 2 games back on the season. I took the Packers on Thursday over the Lions. John took the Lions. I won that game, so that brought me 1 game closer. But then John won the Eagles and Bears because I took the Eagles and he took the Bears. So that put him right back up by 2 games. Our only differential in today's matchups and Monday night is the Texans and Colts. I took the Texans. He took the Colts. So if the Texans win, I'll end the week being 1 game back. If the Colts win, then he'll be up by 3 games at the end of Week 13. So at this time last year, Cam, John was up by 17 games at this point.
Jeez.
Yeah. So things have definitely turned around this year. I got a lot smarter with my picks. So that's it for us, though. We got to get out of here. Like I said, one last time, please head over to all the Huddle Hub social medias, X, TikTok, and YouTube at the Huddle Pod. Hit that follow button on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on the Twitch. Hit that follow button, as we will be live back on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the College Football Top 25 final update and get you guys ready for Conference Championship Weekend and our recap of Week 13 of the NFL. With that being said, Cam, all your socials are going to be on the bottom. What do you got going on over on social media?
Well, like I said, definitely keep up with me on Cam's Wrestling Corner. I post semi-daily, I guess you could say, or a weekly. Of course, my wrestling opinion, wrestling news, and things of that nature. So stay tuned on that. I'm probably the most active in terms of content on there. And then, of course, you can find me every single Sunday morning right here on the Huddle Hub with me and Middlecore Mike talking about some NFL and, of course, college football. And then, of course, Wednesday nights on River City Radio on the Boom, talking about some AEW Dynamite with the addition of Phil Khan. And then Monday nights, River City Radio on the Table Spot every single Monday night after Monday Night Raw. We're hyping up for our holiday specials. So those are coming up, and I'm very excited for those as well as our, well, that's towards the end of December, but our year-end Table Spot Awards. So stay tuned for that as well. Very excited for that as well. We did that last year, very successful last year as well.
Yep.
So stay tuned for all that. We got a lot of content coming out of the chamber, so stay tuned for all that. Love and appreciate all you guys coming by and checking out the stream this morning.
All right, so go follow Cam over on social media. Check out everything that he's doing, especially on Cam's Wrestling Corner. I promise you will not be disappointed. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, MetalMike714 is where you can find me. Like Cam said, we are here every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as we get you ready for every week of the NFL and recap college football, which, college football is slowly or very quickly coming to an end, which is crazy. But we recap college football as well. We have the news for you on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Normally at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is me and John. Like Cam said, Monday night, the table spot. This Monday is our final Raw reaction show of the year. And then we get into our holiday specials, which we will have a different start time moving forward after this Monday night. We will be live after Monday Night Raw this week with the fallout of Survivor Series. But then moving forward, we will be live at an earlier start time. We'll keep you posted on that over on social media, on our personals. And then the Table Spot Awards, like Cam said, December 29th, which is our third annual Table Spot Awards. Third annual, man. It's crazy. 3 years. And then on Wednesday night for the Boom after AEW Dynamite, reacting to everything that happens on the show after the show. Come check it out over on Rivet City Radio and Off the Top Media. With that being said, thank you everybody for joining us here on the Huddle Up Podcast. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until Tuesday. Deuces. See ya.